Welcome back to the Relationship Mentors podcast. In today's episode, we are talking about the 6 things that you need to start saying to your partner more often. Within a relationship, we always hear that to have a healthy relationship, you need to have better communication. You need to have effective communication. However, that umbrella is so big. So today we are giving you 6 phases that are going to help you when you are having those difficult conversations, just making sure that you're staying on the same page and reminding each other that you're on the same page and you're not attacking them. It's a collaboration.
Yeah, I think these phrases are really good for conflict resolution. Like a relationship is constantly filled of connection and disconnection and connection and disconnection, constantly going through a cycle like that. And reconnecting after conflict is such an important skill in relationships. And I feel like these are great conversation starters if you have, disconnected a bit or have gone off to different pages. Like coming back together with these is important.
Exactly. And it's also to initiate that conversation to begin with without it coming off as an attack. It's actually positioning the conversation correct from the start, where it's not attacking your partner, it's coming from a place of from you and how you're feeling.
Yeah, and the most common pattern we see in relationships is criticism and defensiveness, like constantly meeting each other. One person feels attacked, so they go on the defensive. The other person feels injustice because they didn't mean to make the other person feel attacked, and it's just back and forth, like their ego is trying to protect themselves. So
exactly. And now before we dive into all the 6 things or the 6 phases that we like to call it, let's do a little catch up with us. So if you look at the last week, what is something that I did for you that made you feel loved?
I would say last night, Mia isn't sleeping too good because she is 30 weeks pregnant and she can get uncomfortable. So in the middle of the night, sometimes...
Wow, that sounds... Sorry, I'm like 29 weeks in like 4 days. So I hadn't clicked that I'm 30 weeks pregnant.
Yeah, pretty much 30 weeks pregnant.
Yeah.
And yeah, Mia's pretty uncomfortable at nighttime sleeping. And last night, she was awake quite a lot in the middle of the night. And I was fast asleep because I'd sleep through anything. And Mia was awake and I could feel myself like, if I even woke up a tiny bit, Mia was like right next to me, like, hi, like wanting attention, wanting like, you want to play with me?
No, I was just like reassuring you that I loved you so much. And so anytime you moved, I was like all over you and cuddling you, like, oh, I love you.
Yeah, like if I moved in any direction, she's
up.
like, yeah, if I moved in any direction, Mia was there, like, I don't know, wanting attention and wanting to give me more love.
Yeah. I think my intention was to like, give you love. And at the same time, there's a slight part of me is like, I hope you wake up and just stay awake with me.
Yeah,
I'm just here.
Because you couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
No, so that made me feel loved last night. Just how I woke up in the morning, it was like, it felt like a dream, just like how you're awake so much. A different voice. You woke up doing some shit, and then I went to sleep, woke up again, and then you bring in a laptop in to start watching a show at like 3 a.m. I was like, what are you doing?
In my defense, I woke up at 1 o'clock and then I laid in bed for 2 hours trying to get back to sleep because I knew if I looked at a screen, that I probably wouldn't fall back asleep. But then after 2 hours, I'm like, okay, I'm giving myself time. I'm allowing myself to watch something now.
Did that send you to sleep?
I watched 2 episodes.
I watched Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I watched like an episode and a half maybe. And then...
That's decent.
I got sleepy again. I'm like, okay, I need to embrace this moment where I feel sleepy and take it.
You had a few more hours?
Yeah, which was so great.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
What did I do to make you feel loved this week?
I feel like for the past couple of weeks, you've really been celebrating me a lot more. It's like, I feel like in our relationship, we always verbally celebrate each other. It's like, oh, congratulations. Like, that's so big. We really make an effort to acknowledge all those parts in our relationship and our day. However, especially in the last 2 weeks, I feel like it's just been to the next level of we're actually like going out for dinner and celebrating. Not that I feel like that's not really our personalities to begin with, or we're not really gift giving people. So even going out for dinner and having that experience, it's so nice. And I think I've enjoyed it so much because it's something that it's out of our normality.
Yeah, it's not something we do all the time.
Yeah, it's like what we speak a lot about in our earlier podcast episodes of like is how much of a routine that we get in, and we really stick to that. And I feel like for the last 2 weeks, the routine's really changed, and I feel like a lot of that has to do with both of us, was like the things that you're doing to like really celebrate us and our milestones and each milestone that we're hitting. Just, yeah, really,
it feels nice.
Yeah, acknowledging that.
Yeah.
And then another part as well is just little things. Sometimes you'll look at me and your reaction is as if I'm 30 weeks pregnant, and you're like, I'll do this for you. I'll carry, like, you carry my bags all the time. But it's like for you to get out of the car and then be like, I'll carry that for you. I'll carry this for you.
I'll grab the door.
I'll open the door for you. Oh, no,
I'll
no,
give
no.
you a lift
You
out of
go
the car.
first. You go first. And it's like all things that you would do normally.
Just exaggerated.
Yeah, I think you just exaggerate as if I'm like this delicate pregnant person with your precious little baby.
Yeah.
And you don't do that all the time, but it's just like I've noticed like a few moments throughout the day or every few days, you just emphasize it, which I think, I don't know if it's just a joke or whatever, but it's really funny, and I really, like, it's just very sweet.
That's so sweet. I love it. And what you're saying on celebrating each other, it's like, if you come up to me with a slight worry, whether it's in business or about your body or about something you've been thinking about, and me reassuring and like even going over the top of celebrating you can alleviate that. And that's such an important thing, like being able to reassure your partner, because they'll say things that are maybe on their mind or worrying them. And then if you can reassure them and celebrate them and give them a different point of view, like that makes them feel so good.
Yeah, and I feel like it definitely makes me feel loved because I know that you're doing it out of the kindness of your heart. But something that has really come up is just like how nice you have been about my body changing. Like you've always, my whole pregnancy, I've always made comments about how great I'm looking, and like how, like you've just always reaffirmed such positive beliefs about my body even before I brought up anything. It's like now being 30 weeks pregnant, it's like so much has changed. It's like I've seen my body change, and like just consistently every few days, my body's just changing so much. And you get used to it looking one way, and then it just keeps growing and
A new
changing
stretch mark
shape.
comes,
And yeah, it's just like really just out. Yeah, it's just like he's just never the same. So like you accept it for one level, and then it goes to the next level. And I think it's only maybe the last couple of weeks where I'm like, okay, my body is like really changing a lot now, and it's just completely different to what it ever has looked like in my entire life. And so you've been super supportive about that. But even before that, like my whole pregnancy, you were always reaffirming such positive beliefs before I was even thinking of anything.
Yeah.
And you always making like really positive comments about my body throughout the day, or just really randomly, that makes it feel super authentic. And like I say, I don't know if you 100% believe it, but it makes me feel good, and it comes across that you're being very genuine.
It's such a whole different level of depth to my love for your body. And seeing you pregnant, I'm just like, it's amazing, and I love it. And I even was saying to Mia, I love you pregnant more than I love you non-pregnant now.
Yeah, well, you
Like
haven't
your
said it
body.
like that, but yeah.
I'm just like, it's so amazing, like seeing you with a belly, and you just carry it around with such pride, and you love it. And then like I wake up before Mia, and I'm in a different room. And then when Mia wakes up, she's naked, and she walks in, and she's just showing me her belly like every morning. And she's so proud. She's like, look. And then, yeah, I just love it. Like how proud you are and how much you're embracing being a mother is really cool.
That's so cool. And I think it's so great for you to even give me that awareness, because I didn't fully recognize that. But then when you were explaining, I'm like, yeah, every morning I do see you, or even throughout the day, I'll lift up my shirt and just like poke out my belly. I don't need to poke it out anymore, but I'll just like show you my belly.
And you're so sweet
like,
and cute about it.
Thank you.
Just everywhere, like walking around, just like, just like you're this pregnant lady, and then your belly's out, and then you're doing all these funny things. Like you're so funny just to observe in life anyway, but being pregnant just adds another layer. Like Mia and I, our whole humor in our relationship is Mia doing funny things and me pointing it out, and you being pregnant just adds more funny things. It's great to watch.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, I do. I think you bring in a lot of fun into our relationship. And every time I say that, you always say that I'm the funny one. You're just making fun of me, but in bringing in.
I'm the one that notices.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, so that was our little update from the week, and I feel like that was a really nice share of like pregnancy and all of that. So let's get into the 6 things that you should start saying to your partner more often. So phase number 1 is
Phrase. You're even forgetting the R
Phase.
in phrase.
phrase.
You said
phrase.
You said phase number 1. Phrase.
Yes, because I've been saying phase 1, 2, and 3 all day.
Yeah, you said it in the intro. I was like, okay.
It sounded wrong, but
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Phrase.
Yeah, phrase.
Phrase 1.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Okay, I'm going to start saying things. Thing number 1 is, if it bothers you, it bothers me. Okay.
If it bothers you, it matters to me.
Yeah, right.
Try again.
I looked down and I'm like, that was wrong.
You just see words and just like
I just gathered I knew what the
Yeah.
rest of it was. But then I was
the way
like,
Mia
no.
reads. We have mentioned this before, so it's not the first time. Like maybe there's a bit of
You've
dyslexia.
mentioned it.
There's a bit of dyslexia there. So you see a word and you just assume what the rest of the sentence is, or you see
Yeah.
you see an M and it looks around 5 letters long, and you'll just say a word, and it doesn't even matter if it's the word. You'll just
Or
say
if
it.
it's pronounced right, or if I'm using the word correctly.
Yeah, you're just like,
like,
I understand, so I hope that everyone else must understand.
Hopefully that connects to everyone else. Okay, let's start again.
Okay, you got it.
So, thing number 1
Phrase, you got it. Say phrase.
phrase number 1 is, if it bothers you, it matters to me.
Oh, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week. We nailed it. Mia's moving. If it bothers you, it matters to me. So many things don't register as a problem in my head, but it does to Mia. Or so many things register as a problem in Mia's head, but it doesn't to me. It's like, yeah.
I think a really important part to know about this is well, I feel like you're going to pull apart what I'm saying.
No, I'm not at all.
Okay. It's like just remembering that you both grew up in different households, and so you've both grown up with different lenses and how you see the world. You have different triggers, the way that you see situations, you notice different things, etc. So knowing that just because something doesn't bother you, it could bother your partner because it can bring up a trigger from childhood. They could see it through a different perception that you do, and that could be hurtful for them. Something that you could find funny could be actually really offensive to your partner, which I'm sure you've seen throughout your life as well.
Even basic examples like your partner could leave the house without telling you where he's going, and that's so normal for him. Like, he doesn't have to tell you where he's going, but if you feel a bit anxious about where he is and where he's gone, like, don't feel crazy for asking him to tell you where he's going when he leaves the house. Like, if it bothers you, it should matter to him. If he just leaves the house, maybe he needs some time on his own. Maybe he loves seeing his mates, or just having him time. But then it bothers you by feeling more anxious and overthinking and worrying where he is, and is he dead? Does he need rescuing? Like, if it matters to you, it should matter to him as well. It's like all these little things.
I think another great example that you see a lot within relationships is especially like Valentine's Day, for example, right? Because you hear a lot that there's so many guys out there that's like, oh, it's just another day. I should show you how much I love you every day. Like, it's just one day that's not that important, etc., etc., etc. Sexual. My words tonight. However, it's important to know, it's like, if that day is important to your partner, or just important, sometimes your partner can say, oh, it's not important to me, but I still expect you to buy me flowers, or write me a card, or buy me chocolate, or like do something that shows me that you're thinking of me. It's like, just because it's not important to you or matter to you as much, being the guy in this scenario, because it is important to your partner, it should matter to you, and it should be something that you do for her because it's important to her.
And coming back to basic things like the love languages, like if your partner loves receiving gifts and it makes her feel so loved, but you couldn't care less about gifts, it's like, it matters to her, so maybe make the effort. It's like, I couldn't care less about gifts. Like, I don't want to gift people things. I don't want to receive gifts. I don't really care that much.
Yeah. It's like, it's nice when you receive gifts, I think, and give gifts. It's just like, it doesn't equal to worth or value or meaning that I love you or that I'm thinking about you.
Yeah. Like,
I feel like you see it as more like of an obligation of society has said, it's the right thing to do.
It's Christmas. You have to buy things for people, and chances are the things you buy, the person doesn't want them anyway. It's more clutter in their house.
Yeah, that's
and it's
more
just,
your lens.
And it's just awkward.
Gifts.
It's like, oh fuck, I haven't got this person a gift. Like it feels like a chore. The whole gift giving scene feels like a chore for everyone involved. I feel like there's a massive thing going on from my perception. No one likes gifts, but everyone plays along because they feel like they have to give gifts.
Yeah, and then there's actual people out there that
love gifts.
That their love language is gifts. And I was explaining to Charlie the other week, because my family is very much like my larger family is very much gift givers, and explaining to him that it's like that's the point of buying other people gifts, because it is so thoughtful, and if you give them a nice gift that they actually want, it shows them that you know them and that you love them, and you pay attention to them and what they like and what they don't like that. To me, from observing my family, larger family, that's what I've seen it to be.
I did feel great the other day. Mia was doing really well in business, and I went to get her flowers and a card to congratulate her. And that felt really nice as a gift. So
and
like,
chocolate, you got me chocolate.
And chocolate. So like in the moment, that made me feel so good giving you that. Yeah. But was that because I loved giving it to you, or just because I know you would love that? Do you know what I mean? Did I just feel good as a partner, or was it about you feeling good?
Do you have an answer to that? Or?
No.
I think sometimes...
I think mainly because I know it would make you feel loved, and that would make me feel good about myself also.
Yeah.
So it's like both of them, isn't it?
That's the thing as well, though, because it's like, if it matters to you, it matters to me type of behavior. It's like, because I love you, I'm going to do this because I know it's going to make you feel good. And in return, that's going to make me feel good, or you feeling good.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So I think it's a bit of both. Like
reciprocity.
There you go.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I think that's it for that topic. We love going off topic. Okay. We could do an episode on love languages.
Yeah, that is one that we
take
haven't...
that as such a, I don't know. It is so important, and people need to learn more about it.
It's a great framework to know and be aware of, and there's many more.
You can think of it as such like a basic topic, but it's like, fuck, if people fully understood this, relationships would be so much easier.
Yeah. Okay, let's get back into the phrases. So phrase number 2, I was thinking about what happened earlier and I wanted to apologize.
Ooh. ...
So then you would carry on that.
Just say that.
and I want to apologize. That's how I would.
That's enough.
Yeah.
I've done my job. She feels better.
I apologize. Walk away. So with this one in particular, this is a great one for if you can reflect on a situation or an interaction with your partner that you probably didn't show up at your highest potential, or you like showed up maybe a bit catty or a bit irritative, throwing words around everywhere. It's a great way to come back to your partner and start that. Sometimes it can be an awkward conversation to say that you're in the wrong. And it's like, hey, I recognize that I actually didn't show up the best that I could have there, and I was tired and triggered and I let that out on you, and that isn't fair, and I do apologize for that. And so the easiest way to even start that conversation is using this exact phrase, which I'll say it again, which is, I was thinking about what happened earlier and I wanted to apologize for ...
And when reconnecting with your partner after something's happened like that, it's like, I feel like a lot of men, I don't know if it happens for women and men, but especially men, I have this deep desire to explain myself and let you know my side of like, this was going on for me. But at the same time, I know it's like, but this, if I upset you, it's not about me, but I have this deep desire for you to understand where I was coming from. It's like the injustice piece, right? That
you're not. And I feel like a lot of men do feel that way of needing to, if she's bringing it up, she must be attacking me even. That is the emotion that comes up.
Yeah.
That I feel like I'm being attacked and I need to defend myself for that. So instead of hearing her out, men will normally butt in or cut her off to justify what's happened because I need to fight for my part.
Yeah. Any injustice, like, no, that wasn't my intention. You're not seeing it right. I don't want to be the bad guy. And through that, the woman can feel so unheard as well. So it's like, swallow your pride, swallow your ego, hear her out first, I think. Like, make her feel recognized. And then it's just understanding each other's sides. Hey, you can't hate and understand someone at the same time. So in that situation, if you make your partner feel heard and seen for what she would have gone through or he would have gone through, and then you can implement like what was going on from your side.
Yeah, great.
Amazing.
Next one.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to phrase number 3, which is, thank you for having patience with me. I'm still learning X, Y, and Z.
There's so much learning in a relationship, even things like emotions. It's like men and women, but speaking from the man's point, a lot of men don't grow up learning emotions. We don't talk about them.
Or haven't in the past. We'd like to create a new generation where...
Yeah, we're creating that. And a lot of men don't grow up talking about emotions, and they get into a relationship and they're expected to emotionally hold their woman or emotionally hold their woman and a child. And it's like, fuck, I don't know how. So the woman doesn't feel heard, thinks her partner hates her and isn't loving her and all this stuff. And then the man doesn't feel capable because he's not holding his woman or doing a good job. And then he feels shit about himself. So he's having self-pity. He's getting defensive. She's getting critical. And it's just back and forth. But the core of it is maybe he just didn't learn how to hold emotions or express his emotions. So if you get back to this and have patience and actually teach each other how to love you best, that's going to make it so much easier.
Exactly. And I feel like this phrase really comes in handy when it's like you're already aware of it. Like you're already aware that, for your example, is that you're aware that you haven't learned your emotions or how to hold your emotions, let alone hold other people's emotions. And you've already had those big conversations within your relationship. But just because you've had the conversation or you've had multiple conversations doesn't mean that innate behavior is going to change, because to learn your emotions and get in touch with your emotions, let alone to hold your emotion and everyone else's, that is a skill that needs to be learned over time, and it's not going to change overnight. You are going to start improving step by step over a period of time. And so I feel like this phase really comes in handy, being like, thank you for being patient with me. I'm still learning this stuff. Like learning, I don't like the word stuff. It's like, be specific, especially when you are talking about serious conversations like this. Like the more specific you are, the healthier it's going to be for your partner to fully recognize exactly what you're meaning in the page that you're on. Because I feel like this phase just really shows that shows your partner that you recognize
you care and you want to learn. Yeah,
like shows that you care and that you don't need to have this big conversation again of you should be holding me or like XYZ, XYZ. You don't need to have those big conversations again. You just are acknowledging, hey, thank you for being so patient with me with this. I know I showed up not in the best way that I could have, and I'm still learning how to do that.
Like there was even an instant earlier where Mia walked up to me and showed me a stretch mark, and that's on her body. And then I can't remember what he said. It's like, he said, I'm feeling insecure about like stretch marks on my body. It was a line similar to that. And in the moment I was like, I really want to reassure her. I'm not sure what to ask right now. So I asked the question like, what did I ask?
I don't even remember, because I found stretch marks on my hips this morning, and I'm like, the first time I saw them. And then I was showing you them, and then I can't remember what you said, but whatever
you said,
it felt
I'm
like.
feeling sad about my stretch marks on my skin.
Yeah.
And I went, so what are you feeling about them? Like, she just told me she's feeling sad. I just froze in the moment. And then I said that. And then Mia was like, sort of like, I just told you sort of vibe. And then I was like, okay, I didn't know what to ask there. I'm here. I love you. And yeah, teach me how to support you in this.
Yeah. And that's really good, because that was from your perception. Because from my perception, I think you just said something, and to me it just didn't make sense. So that
you just kept talking.
That's what I was giving you. I think I just wanted acknowledgement, being like, okay, like body is changing even more again. And then it was sweet that you were like, I'm trying.
Yeah, I said that.
I'm trying.
I don't know what to say, but I'm trying. And then like all your partner wants to know at the core of it is like, do you care? Do you care about me?
Show me and remind me that you care.
Show me you give a shit. Show me you're in this battle with me. Yeah. It's like, you don't have to say the perfect thing. It's just like, are you in the trenches with me?
I think that's exactly why I showed you my stretch marks. So the moment I noticed them, I just called out to you to come in to the bathroom and look at them. Like I knew that you couldn't do anything or say anything. I just wanted you to be like in there with me, being like, more is happening, more changes.
You just want to be seen in that, don't you?
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
It's really hard.
That was deep, bro. I didn't think we'd go here tonight.
In the moment, I was like, oh my God.
It's a wild Friday night.
Okay.
Amazing. Next one.
Okay, so phrase number 4 is, I don't want to assume, so I thought I'd ask.
Oh, assumptions in a relationship.
This is the best one.
Ooh.
I believe.
Go on.
Because especially from a girl's point of view, I feel like I really encourage a lot of women to start conversations off with this of, I didn't want to assume, so I thought I would ask. Because there's so many times when we can feel triggered in a relationship or jump to conclusions or feel like our intuition is telling us something. However, there's no facts in front of us to fully
just
reason with it. And the best thing is that you can do is actually bring that feeling, emotion, your thoughts up to your partner when it's not a big deal, so it doesn't become this massive big deal. And just saying to your partner, hey, I didn't want to assume, so I thought I would just ask. This is what has come up for me lately. I'm feeling this way. Is this true? Or have you found this to be true? Is this what you're actually doing?
Because so many women have a feeling, and that's totally fine. It's okay to not know what it is and just have a feeling and want to express yourself. That's what women do. But the issue a lot of the time is women bring it up in a critical tone or a questioning tone, and the guy puts his guard up straight away, gets on the defensive. He feels attacked. He feels like he needs to defend himself. So he will come back with a defensive response, and then she won't feel heard. She'll feel even more misunderstood. And then it's back and forth like that, instead of just being like, I don't want to assume, but this. And then that just pulls his guard down and enters a conversation where it's not hostile.
Exactly. And it's like, there's multiple reasons why when a woman can bring up this conversation and it come off critical. One really big one is that they didn't bring up the situation when they first thought about it, or when it wasn't a big deal, and they spent days, weeks, months thinking about this situation and looking for facts and evidence to build their case. And then one day, which from their partner's point of view, out of nowhere, will bring up this big conversation, this massive issue that's happening in the relationship, and almost blindsides their partner because they didn't even know any of this was happening inside your mind for the last several hours, weeks, days, etc. And so that's one reason. And the other reason is that you just haven't been taught how to communicate how you're feeling for yourself and showing up. It's like, this is how I'm feeling. And then asking your partner, is this true? Instead of accusing your partner as if
he's already guilty.
Yeah, as if it is already true.
Yeah, it's like when couples reconnect, it's what do you assume? That usually tells you the quality of the relationship. If you always assume the negative versus assuming the positive, you're going to have a totally different relationship. If something's happened in the house, I can't even think of an example. If you left the fan on, you left the lights on, it's like you're coming with a questioning tone and a critical tone, assuming the negative, like he's so stupid, she's so stupid, rather than like, oh, he must have forgot, she must have forgot. Like coming to your partner with a positive assumption rather than a negative assumption makes such a difference too.
Yeah, I think a really big one that would be coming up for some people is being triggered of him texting other girls, or is he losing interest in me?
Yeah. That must mean he's cheating on me. That must mean all men are shit.
And knowing that it's like a lot of that has to do with your past triggers in past relationships. However, to create a stronger connection and more trust within your current relationship, knowing that your current partner hasn't done anything to show you that he's not trustworthy, still bringing up those emotions when they do come up, and letting your partner be on the same page as you, of like, hey, I just didn't want to assume, so I thought I would ask, or I didn't want to assume, so I thought I'd just bring this to your attention when you closed your phone or closed all your apps the moment I walked into the room. It really triggered me in that moment because it made me feel as though you didn't want me to see what was on your phone. Is that true?
And I'm needing some reassurance around this.
Yeah, and I'm needing some reassurance around this. And then most of the time, if he is a trustworthy person, he's like, no, I was just wanting to give you my attention when you came into the room because I thought you were wanting to chat. So I was just getting off my phone so I could give you that attention.
Yeah.
Like that can be how it plays out. But then you can see there's so many times in your relationship or in other relationships where the women are saying, oh, I didn't want to overreact, so I didn't say anything. But in reality, it's like you should actually...
And that builds up and you overthink and you can't trust him anymore.
Where it's like the first time he ever did it and it sort of triggered something in you just sharing that with your partner so could be like, oh, like I didn't even realize that it would have come across that way. Thanks for letting me know. At least now, for next time, if I do it, that's what's happening.
People can play a whole movie out in their head, can't they? And run this massive timeline about their partner sleeping with someone else and cheating on them and gonna leave them, and I'm gonna go back to my mum's house and then I'll find a job here and then I'll do this. Like, you're like, whoa, just have the one conversation when it comes up. Like, people play the whole storyline out in the worst case scenario. And
I truly believe that this is a habit to start creating in your relationship and just like with people in general, because I feel like it's very common for people not to overshare this information because they feel like it's so minor that it's not a big deal to even bring up. But that's how it just snowballs into this massive thing. Yeah,
that's so true. Amazing.
Excellent. So phrase number 5 is, I wanted to check in and see how you're feeling about ...
Ooh, that's a good one. I feel like so many emotions and issues linger on from the past and they don't get fully closed in relationships because people don't want to have the difficult conversations. They don't want to talk about that thing that happened. Like when I made my girlfriend feel bad, I don't want to talk about that event again because it brings up shame for me. It brings up her thinking about me in a certain light. So I just won't mention it. And then it'll just drag on into other events and just builds up over time to this massive thing where it's like, cool, I want to see how you're feeling about this thing. Is there any emotions still present? Is there any loops that need closing? So that shit doesn't get dragged into the future.
Yeah, I love that. My perception on it as well was not just about the relationship and checking in about how they're feeling about a situation within the relationship, but sometimes it's also knowing that your partner is going through a difficult time financially wise or like career wise or
with their family or health or
exactly. And then it's like that your partner, you can know in quotations that your partner isn't feeling that great about it, so you don't want to bring it up, so it brings up more emotions for him or reminds him of how hard it is. It's actually just checking in to see like, hey, I'm here for you. How are you feeling about this? Because the best thing is to actually ask and share that, because I find even within our relationship, sometimes I can think that something's really heavy on your mind. And then I ask you and you're like, I'm fine. Like I wasn't even thinking about anything, but I was just so busy over analyzing of like, okay, like he's looks sad or he's doing this, but in reality he's probably just spent hours on the computer working and he just wants to break sometimes. And like sometimes there could be something on your mind, but I find that sometimes I just over reassure you a lot and like ask a lot just to clarify that you are good.
And there's different types of people. Some people talk about their problems all the time to anyone that would listen. And then other people will never share their problems. They don't want to talk about what's going on for them, any challenges. They want to keep it to themselves because that's the way they've learned how to do it. So it's like maybe your partner's one of those people. So it's like asking him or asking her about what's going on in parts of their life, like will give them the permission piece to start opening up about it. So it's not so heavy on his or her heart or his or her mind, for example.
Yeah. And I have found myself to be, I don't know if I'm still like this or I've slowly learnt to share more. So I really found myself, it's like, if someone asks how I'm going, it'll be like the default of like, yeah, I'm going pretty good, or that,
no matter what's going on.
Yeah. And then if they were really wanting to know, they would ask again, or they'd ask more of a specific question, and I would answer the question as high chunk with as less details as possible. And if they were wanting to know more, they would ask more. And then and then knowing that I maybe could ask you the same question and you could actually share everything.
Yeah.
Where for me, it was like, there's different layers to it. So you just need to ask more specific questions for me to uncover that. I feel like I've started opening up more after seeing that, like, people genuinely care, and when our friends ask how I'm going, they genuinely want to know.
Yeah, maybe that's I don't know what to call it, like a protection mechanism, where it's like, if someone asks about my feelings, if I just high chunk it, then people will just move on from that subject and they won't talk about it more.
I think it's very much after like my coaching calls this week as well, just really seeing that it is a safety mechanism in the sense of, I don't feel safe or I don't feel worthy of being seen. And if I'm talking about my emotions and poor me, I don't feel like that's okay.
Yeah.
Or like my emotions aren't valid, so I shouldn't have them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Almost. So,
And I'll talk on this high chunk, low chunk conversation a bit, because it is important to understand, and you understand people way more in communication and just in life in general. So high chunk is talking in broad concepts and low chunk is talking in very specific details. So if you ask someone like, what did you get up to in the gym? Oh, I did weights and then I did some cardio and then left. That's high chunk. If you ask someone else, what did you do in the gym? Oh, I started with bench press, then I did lat pull downs, and then I did some dumbbell curls. And then I went upstairs, did 10 minutes on the row machine, 10 minutes on the treadmill. And then I saw this guy on the way out, and then I drove back and I stopped in the shop and then came home.
and like I noticed that my legs were really hurting after this. And
Yeah, like some people are so detail oriented and some people are so high chunk, which is just broad concepts. And it's like your partner could be the same, talking about their problems, talking about their emotions, talking about what's going on with their mum at the moment, what's going on in their workplace. They could be really high chunk and they just brush it off. But it's like, can you chunk them down? Can you ask them more specific questions?
yeah, I love that.
Yeah. That's such a good thing to know, the high chunk, low chunk thing.
Yeah, I feel like I assume that everyone knows what high chunk is.
Yeah.
But then low chunk,
You never hear low chunk, do you?
no, because I feel like it just sounds weird.
Yeah. High chunk, low chunk. Get around it.
Excellent. And then ready to move on to the last one?
I am ready.
Excellent. So phrase number 6 is, neither way is better or worse. We just do it differently.
Oh, you needed this one in the start of the relationship.
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind, and we have spoken about it so much in the
washing up.
relationship, is the washing up.
Oh.
But the thing is, again, I say that my way is better because the washing is clean and it's done. Where yours
You just said neither way is better.
Yours is done, but not clean. And you miss a lot of cups.
We all have our pros and cons,
Okay.
strengths and
We
weaknesses.
talk about this every time we talk about the washing up.
It
but there
always
was
comes back.
one cup, takeaway cups that you from home that you take your tea in around, whatever. And I had it in the morning. Charlie washed up that day and he missed it. I'm like, okay, it's right in the middle of the dishes. It's not like it's somewhere else. It's in the middle of all the pile of the dishes.
They're invisible. Hey?
And then I noticed it and addressed it to you. And then the next day you washed up and it was still there until the next day I washed it up. But
Do you know some things you just can't see?
yeah.
Do you know when
I
when
thought-
you're a kid growing up and then you can't find something and then your mum goes to look for it for you and she can find it? It's like, that thing wasn't there before.
Well,
It's the same
I
with you
thought
sometimes.
maybe because the cup is blue. I'm like, maybe you're colorblind and you just can't see it. But then even colorblind people would be able to see like a different shape of it.
Just because you can't see it's dirty, because it has a lid on it, everything, I'm just like, oh, it's on the side. I don't know.
But why would it ever be out of the drawer then?
That's true. I'm just trying to make excuses.
Yeah, you just yeah, it's just there. It's like the whole house was spotless, and it was like just our island bench, and it was right in the middle of the island bench. And I asked Charlie, I was like, "Oh, where was it?" I'm like, "It was right there, an empty bench with a bright blue cup in it, right in the middle."
It wasn't there before.
Okay. But anyway, going back to this, I feel like there needs to be a different example because we talk about the washing up stuff all the time, and this isn't relevant to the washing up because mine's just better. So to repeat what the phrase was neither way is better or worse. We just do it differently.
I think that having that realization that your partner is so different from you, their coping mechanisms, the way they communicate, the way they deal with conflict, their attachment styles, their love languages, the masculine feminine stuff, the friend group growing up, like everything is so different for your partner, and you're going to do everything differently. Not everything differently, but there's going to be things that are completely different to the way you do it. And just
and it
knowing
may not
that,
even make sense to you.
yeah, things don't make sense to you, but the way you do things, the way you think things are normal, are completely different for your partner as well. So it's like, whenever you find differences in your relationship, can you explore that? Can you enjoy that? Can you learn your partner? Can it be an ever progressing journey to understand your partner and to understand yourself through a relationship? Because that's all a relationship is. That's all a relationship is seeing more of yourself through your partner. So it's like uncovering different layers. It gets to be a fun journey.
Yeah. And also with that, when you're open to seeing how your partner handles certain situations or does a certain thing differently to you, you may actually find, oh, I actually really like the way that they do that. I'm going to start incorporating a part of that or start doing that myself. So you could always learn, like how to wash up. The way I wash up will make the bed. The way I make the bed.
Like if your partner sends you a good morning text and it makes you feel so good, you're like, oh wow, like I could send him a good morning text or a good night text. That would make him feel so good. For example, there's so many things you can learn from your partner if you're open to it. That was a really cool episode. I think those are so important to start the conversation to a great relationship.
Yeah, I really enjoyed.
I feel like one conversation can change the direction of a whole relationship.
Yeah. And it's just choosing to take the first step in it.
Drop your ego. Just choose to be better. Choose to drop your ego and actually have these conversations.
And if I could look back at myself, like even 5 years ago, and hearing some of these phrases, I would think, oh, but like it's so silly. It's so like it's not important to bring it up right now. Like I just feel so silly to even mention it. But normally it's literally just your ego or past conditioning telling you that it's not a big deal and you're crazy and all these other past conditionings that aren't actually true, but you've just decided to buy into them, to recognize now that all those past conditioning isn't actually true and it is okay for you to communicate with your partner exactly how you're feeling.
It's such a big thing, hey?
Yeah.
Relationships get to be so easy when you learn how. That's why this podcast exists.
Yes.
Amazing. So actually, what's happening this week? What do you got on, Mia Cherry?
This weekend is my sister's baby shower. So she's 2 weeks ahead of me, which is really cool that we're both pregnant.
She's 32 weeks pregnant. That's cool.
And she's officially on maternity leave today, which is really exciting for her. So super excited that we're pregnant at the same time. And so she has her baby shower, and then next weekend is my cousin's baby shower. And then I think it's mine. That's
a lot.
Yeah.
You might as well go live at home for 3 weeks.
No, one's in Brisbane.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. What's happening for me? I'll ask
yeah.
myself.
Sorry.
I'll ask
Like,
myself.
I didn't even
Don't worry. What is on? You're going away for 2 days over the weekend. Business stuff's really exciting at the moment. Looking into developing an AI software around content creation, which is very different to the relationship stuff. And it feels fun. Like I've always loved content and marketing and psychology and systems and funnels and all that stuff. So it's cool being able to express that interest and meeting the right people and having the right connections. So that's moving really, really quick. So this week's going to be ramping that up. And yeah, I'm really excited about it.
So exciting.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much for listening. Tune in every Monday for a relationship podcast and all things, I don't know, catch up with us and see what's going on.
All things life.
All things life. Amazing. See you next Monday. And thank you for listening.